So we are starting to record. Thank you so much for taking the time to speak with me today. As we were just briefly talking about, you did join and have a position in the Tick-Borne Disease Working Group. I know there's 14 members and you are one of the 7 public members. Could you explain a little bit for our community what exactly that role entails?
Sure. So first of all, as a disclaimer, I am going to be speaking on behalf of myself and not
Sure.
the Tick-Borne Disease Working Group or HHS or the federal government. I have to always disclose that. So there you go. So there are seven public members and 7 feds on the Tick-Borne Disease Working Group. And I am the co-chair, along with Dr. Lyndon Hu, who is a scientist at Tufts University. And so we are chairing this last round of the Tick-Borne Disease Working Group that was established by the 21st Century Cures Act, to where they had to have 3 rounds of the Tick-Borne Disease Working Group with 3 different reports. And this is the final report that will be sent to Congress in December of 2022.
Wow, yeah, that's definitely a big undertaking then.
Yeah.
I totally understand that you are speaking on behalf of yourself. I know also that there is a variety of subcommittees. Are you partaking in any of those specifically?
Well, since I'm the co-chair, Lyndon and I are the co-chair, we decided that we would rather have the other members be the subcommittee members. But what we are doing is we are sitting in, we're each picking a 3, and we're sitting in every meeting. So we're kind of like a subcommittee, like a co-chair, but we're just kind of on the peripheral to help answer any questions, put in our feedback, whatnot. So we are going to be in a lot of meetings coming up. So we're just finalizing our subcommittees actually today. I was on Zoom meetings all morning, and the chairs pick their subcommittees. Then we kind of go over it to say, is this what we're really looking for this go around is sort of some new fresh blood to come in, but we also understand, since this is the last one and it's really important, that we need some people that have already been there and know what's going on. So we kind of are doing a mix of that. And so I know that the chairs are reaching out to their subcommittee members today to ask if they'd like to be on it.
Very exciting. It does seem any type of federal working group, you're going to have a variety of meetings at all times to make sure all stakeholders are totally brought up to speed. So thank you for being a representative on behalf of the Lyme community through all of those very tough processes. Have you ever previously served as a member of a working group?
I did. I served in 2018 as a subcommittee member for access to care and patient support. And it was kind of a mess, to be quite honest. It was the first time around. I think there was a lot of heightened emotion. And it was one of those things at the end, I said, I'm never going to do this again.
Here you are.
And here I am. So I think why, when I was originally asked to be the chair of this last go around, my first initial reaction was no. And then they kind of talked to me about it, just really saying this last go around, they really wanted to bring people together on both sides, all stakeholders, kind of roll up your sleeves and get the work done, because this is our last shot. You know, this is it. We might never have another Tick-Borne Disease Working Group again. And so this is our last shot to really say to Congress, this is what we need to push the needle forward in the tick-borne disease world. And so I think the federal government did a really good job of putting people on the members of the Tick-Borne Disease Working Group that are just very middle of the road and want to accomplish stuff. So, so far we're off to a good start. We'll see how it goes. Ask me in a year from now. But so far, I feel like everyone's really wants to get a really good report to Congress. What we're concerned about, and I talked about at the first Tick-Borne Disease Working Group meeting, is that, Congress people, they maybe have 3 or 4 minutes to look and talk about this, and their aides have already skimmed through the report. They most likely didn't look at the 2018 and 2020 report, even though they should have. So one of the things we're making sure is that we're referencing a lot of the 2018 and 2020 report, because those reports people worked very hard on, and there's so much good information in there. And so what we really talked about is, okay, if we have 3 minutes in front of Congress, what are the things that we want them to fund, work on, give money for research, whatever. And, on both sides really came back to the number one thing is testing. The testing is awful. And so if we can get better testing, that so takes care of stuff. Another thing is, therapeutics, like what do you do, once you get sick? More is physician education, public education, and then the thing that at the end of the day is tick mitigation. If we don't have ticks, we don't have diseases. So we really are trying to really give a very direct, very concise roadmap to Congress. So if some congressperson from somewhere doesn't know a lot about ticks, they can kind of look at this and be like, well, so they don't have good testing? Like, of course they need funds for testing. Like they don't, have, there's no tick mitigation. Well, why aren't we doing that? Let's fund more research. So that's really what we're hoping for, is for this last report to really give Congress kind of a very simple, very easy roadmap.
Well, I was actually going to ask a question about what are some of your goals, but you definitely just answered all of that. And I can totally understand why you are in the position that you're in, because you hit all 4 of those major points right on the head. And it's definitely things that we've discussed internally as well. But I do want to take a brief second to mention what you spoke on as such a short period that elected representatives and even their team have a chance to really understand the issues facing patients. I recall I spent, as many advocates in the space did, with the Lyme fly-in and Center for Lyme Action earlier this year. That was the exact issue that we ran into. Is, we had 30 minutes, but we weren't always talking directly to the representative. It was, we're conveying information to their aide that then has to take all this really complicated information and then try to convey it back to them on top of however many other topics they're dealing with. So how do you see the Tick-Borne Disease Working Group kind of cutting through that noise, aside from, as you mentioned, referencing past reports and, sharing very simple facts?
Well, unfortunately, as you know, tick-borne disease, it is not simple, but yeah, I think if we can make it simple for Congress to just, have them be like, okay, there's not good testing. Well, that's crazy. Okay, they don't have good therapeutics. Let's help do this. Okay, tick mitigation. Okay, teaching doctors. And I think on both sides, as you know, the Lyme world is very, there's 2 sides and everyone is infighting and yada, yada, yada. I think at the end of the day, everyone can come together to say, we need these things, we need better science. We need better, at the end of the day, what we really need is funding. And so what we're really trying to do, and Lyndon and I, my co-chair, really tried at the first meeting, is to really just set the stage for, let's all roll up our sleeves, put aside our differences, and just get in there and do the best report we can to Congress. and really do it not vanilla, but just very simple and to the point. So we're not giving them a history on where it came from. They don't have time for that. They literally, like you said, some cute little 22-year-old intern is going to skim this in a hot second and give 4 talking points, and they've got 2 minutes in front of, their senator or congressperson. So we just want to make it very clear, very concise. And I think everyone feels that way. The feds and the public members really, really do want to do a very good report, since this is possibly it.
No, you make some great points. And obviously the group as a whole is doing a lot of work. But my last question really is there anything that the patient community can do to assist you and the group in making as big of an impact as possible, or is it really kind of out of their hands at this point?
No, I mean, one of the things, definitely we need help. So one of the things Lyndon and I, my co-chair, we're going to tackle is public comment. And we really will be reading every public comment. I don't think people realize that, but we really are. I know. Lyndon actually dove on that grenade. He was like, "Oh, Holiday and I will do that," and I was like, "What?" But we're going to do that, and I think it's important to see what the Lyme community thinks, wants, feels. Has pros, has cons. I think it's super important, and their voice matters. At the end of the day, I'm a mom of a child who's been sick for 10 years. So at the end of the day, my biggest goal is, to get my kid well and to get anybody else suffering for tick-borne diseases well. So anyone can email 24/7. So if you're up in the middle of the night and you want to send us an email, it's Tick-Borne Disease at hhs.gov. And then Lyndon and I will be reviewing every single one of these before each meeting to really see where the public stands and what they want. And I think one of the things, I know the public was a little, I got some crazy text and crazy emails coming in, but
Sure.
They were a little worried about some of the subcommittee or the committee chairs. And I think what I would put to rest for everyone is that, I will be sitting in as a patient advocate on those meetings. And we have patient advocates in every single one of our subcommittees. So the patient's voice will be heard, and we will be listening to everything. So there is a patient representative in every single subcommittee, and I will be a part of all those committees.
That's definitely very reassuring. And I will also be getting that email address directly from you after this, so I can make sure to share it with our community. I don't want to overwhelm you or Lyndon at all, but the more comments, the better. So I really appreciate you taking the time to do this interview with us, Holiday, and I appreciate your commitment to taking on this role as chair of the committee. It seems like you obviously see the direction and the vision for the patient community and are going to execute upon that. So thanks again.
Of course, you're welcome.